Thivi, and I'm an upcoming spoken word poet. And I'll be honest with you, I was quite afraid to perform on stage.
Don't worry!
But more so, I was quite afraid of the reactions that you guys might make to the topic that I've decided to take. But then I thought to myself, I need to be strong if I want to correct society's wrongs. So, here I am. And before I start, I'd like to say that this spoken word was inspired exclusively by a best friend of mine called Sean Sawney. So I dedicate this to him and all of my friends, and of course, this beautifully wild audience. So I kindly ask you for the next few minutes to assess your attitude towards something that may right now puzzle you, but please hear me through. When you walk down the street, what do you see? Often, it's another heterosexual couple holding hands quite freely. Good for them, of course, but if you turn on the TV or decide to read, it's the same. You will never see a representation of me. Perhaps you will see the part of me that's a refugee, or maybe the part of me that's studying a medical degree. But never will you see the part of me that identifies as Asian, Tamil, and LGBT. It's almost as though society has ignored my existence selectively, purely judging me for my sexuality, something that is my identity. It's been given to me so naturally, like arms and elbows, or legs and knees, or left-handed writing, or flat white feet. So I don't get it. Why am I treated offensively? Why is it that in this Tamil community, as a woman, I am not allowed to marry someone who is the same gender as me? And why do people give so much time into labelling my love for a woman a crime, such that I feel impelled to hide these natural desires that erupt inside? It's pretty much the same as a straight man's flame that ignites as he sees the woman of his dreams. But his love is encouraged in every Tamil movie, sometimes excessively, such that he can do as he pleases. He can tease her, he may abuse her, he may sneeze on her face, he may domesticate and demand his plate of food every single day, and within marriage, he may even rape. And yet, these misogynistic behaviours remain unquestioned, unspoken, as though they are perfectly okay. But of course, they are not. And yet, in comparison to that violating atrocity, my attraction towards a woman is apparently wrong. Tell me, am I intrinsically incapable of caring for another when they are under the weather? Am I not able to make someone feel special and love them as their companion, both physical and mental? You may argue that physiologically, homosexual couples cannot produce babies, but so can't 1/6 of the heterosexual population who are burdened with infertility. But that does not mean that neither of these couples cannot live as a functioning family, nor that they would be unable to nurture an adopted baby, should that be something of their dreams. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm being clear, but the point that I'm trying to make is that love is love, whichever form that may take. So next time you may say, or hear someone say, "Oh my God, that is so gay," stop for a moment. Do you realise the extent of what has been unintentionally implied? Because trust me, if someone hears that who's LGBT, they would have killed themselves 1,000,000 times inside. Because what you just echoed in a phrase that perhaps you erased from your mind within a second, but etched in the mind of the offended, is that to be gay or identify as LGBT is something that is quite frankly disgusting, unnatural, intolerable, abominable. Is that really your opinion of my identity? How different is that from being discriminated against for being part of the Tamil minority? Because in all honesty, when you use the word gay to describe something that you don't approve of, I feel like you're targeting me, telling me that you don't approve of me. But if you knew me, you wouldn't say that. Not even behind my back. Because you'd value me for my morality, for my good deeds, for the advice that I give, for being empathetic and for being a medic. You would not turn around and judge me purely by my sexuality. So then why do you project so much hate against LGBT? You might judge all you want and keep walking on, apparently disgusted, but yourself unaffected by something that is personal between my partner and me, that would ideally not involve a third party. Yes, you will walk on. But as for me, and the majority who identify as LGBT, your passing offensive comments bring daily pain of feeling ashamed, of feeling unaccepted, unworthy and rejected. Feeling like a waste of space, like we should be taking our lives one of these days, for being a certain way that we did not choose to take. So we end up trying to fake being straight, which results instead in self-harm inside, from the fear that we must hide, that we must pretend to like an opposite gender's height. And I end up never being able to kiss publicly with my miss, without the fear of dirty looks, and worse than that, abuse by crooks. Can you imagine that? Holding hands with your lover, and thus being punched in the back by some closed-minded twat who's closed-minded to the facts and who thinks that love runs only on straight tracks? When really, it is a natural human emotion that occurs spontaneously and uncontrollably and as strong and as real as in any form of sexuality. In fact, those who identify as LGBT are just as human as your mate identifies as being straight. So I don't get why you hate and negate our minority within the minority we already are as Tamils. For all you know, you may have a friend who's closeted and in the deep dark end, living with the daily fear of being killed for being queer, and thus depressed and living life on edge. But taking away that pain is down to all of you. By actively reassessing your attitudes and changing the world to seize hate and increase peace. So I hope that you will agree with me when I believe that no one deserves to be unhappy, let alone due to unjust discrimination from society. And I hope that you will begin to question convention, to be part of the generation that shifts the views of our nation towards one of equality between genders and sexualities and the whole of humanity. For if I am not mistaken, everyone deserves to love, and everyone deserves to be loved. And so, given all of the above, I hope you will agree that whatever form it takes, love is still love. Thank you.